Today I want to cover how to make dark cinematic melodies, something kind of a little bit slower, pianos, strings, some nice effects. Let's get into it. All right, so first things first, let's hear the whole sample. So as you can see, there's only 5 things in this beat. The piano is going to be the main part, and then the strings play a very big part in this as well. Maybe a bigger part. The strings kind of stand out a lot. We have 2 sections of strings. Then we got this bass and then this effect. So we're going to break down everything for this beat. Like I said, if you didn't get this sample, it is in a free sample kit that I dropped, so there'll be a link in the description. Let's go ahead and put it in pattern mode, and let me show you what piano I use first off. So this is the piano right here. This is the preset I used. And then as far as processing, I just have a little bit of EQ, just kind of cutting out a little bit of the low end, nothing too crazy, a little low shelf. And this is the piano. I'll play it, then we'll break it down. So I adjusted the scale real quick because this ended up getting transposed. We're actually in B minor, so now the scale highlighting matches up. So there's 3 parts to this piano. We have the chords down here. They're not full chords, they're just 2-note chords. So we have the 1 and then the 5 of a chord. So it's not a 1, 3, 5, you know, a normal triad. It's just the 1 and the 5. Over here, the same thing. We have the 1 of the chord, and then we have the 5, and then we move it up 1 more note back to that F sharp. Then we have a small little triplet melody playing right here, and another one layered on top. So if we go ahead and break this down by section, if I bring this over here, start off on the first note of the scale, which is B, and then skipped every other note to get the chord, deleted the middle note. Now we have the 1 and the 5. Then I dropped down to A. I did the same thing, skipped every other note, made a chord, deleted the middle note, and then I brought this E up to the F sharp, and this is what we get. So right here is just a small little transition that I created. Again, another 1, 3, 5, delete the middle note. So this is real simple. It just follows down. If I go ahead and highlight the root notes for you, and then we go back up to A. So that's all it was. Small little transition right here to go down to this chord right here. And this was actually added when I added in this melody right here. So let's go ahead, copy this over. So let's go into here, 1/3 step. So these got moved in a little bit in order to be realistic, and the velocity was changed. But in order to do this, all we need to do is place a note, and we can skip over 8 steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That would give us that triplet feel, right? If I go like this. But instead, what I do is delete this one, drag this out, so it's 2 versions of that. So it'll be 8, and that kind of gives us that delayed feel. Let me go ahead and highlight them. Pretty much in the 1/3 step, I used 8 of the little boxes to make that simple. And then I skipped this first one and then just created a melody. And all I did was choose notes that are pretty close to each other in the scale. So I went with the C sharp to D, C sharp to B, and then to C sharp again. So that's what this sounds like. Let me go ahead and take these chords out right here. And that was that whole melody. So something real simple. We could have went something like this. So just keep them close together, up and down the scale. You're going to start to hear that it keeps like that evil vibe to it. So then over here, all I did was add in one more little triplet melody, which is going to be here, here, and here. And that kind of just adds another layer to it. And then you'll see with the velocities down here that they just build up. Because if these were to just be straight across like this, sounds weird. So that ended up giving us the piano melody. That's what I started with. So I went on to the next thing, which would be these strings right here. So let's go ahead and solo these strings. And all the strings is contact, very basic bank, staccato bank, and that gets layered into some EQ. And then a pretty big reverb, because without, here's what it sounds like. Doesn't sound too good to me. Then we add in just a little bit of EQ and some reverb. That's a lot of reverb on the strings, but when it's layered with the piano, it sounds really good. And I'll go ahead and play these along with the piano, and you'll see that I'm just following along with the chords of the piano. So here I'm doing the 1 and the 3 of the chord instead of the 1, 3, 5 and deleting the 3. And that just kind of added a little bit of tension. Then we go back up to follow the chords, and then I added a top line right here, which I'll explain after. So let me go ahead and mute that real quick so we could just hear what's going on with the normal chords. So if we count this out in halftime, you'll see that we're just following quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we just had that little halftime going on these, all I did was have that follow exactly here and here. And then in between, I added a couple here, here, and here, which added that nice little triplet feel to it. And that's super simple. It's, again, just those 8 steps. If we go into triplet mode and we were to count it out, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then it's kind of shortened just a little bit. But if they all were to be the same, just be just like that. And that's all that's added in. It's that cool little triplet bounce to it. Then the velocity is super important as well. Every other note gets pushed down, as you can see. So like I said, for these, we can just start off on a halftime following quarter notes, and then we can add in little triplets here and there, make sure we mess with velocity, all good to go. And then after that, I ended up just playing this quick little top melody on the MIDI keyboard and then added in another triplet as well. And that's how I ended up getting the strings to layer with this piano. So the next thing is super simple. It's just this violin right here inside of Contact. And that's going into the same processing as the last string. And that's what this sounds like. So if we look back at the chords on the piano, that 3 that was missing, I ended up putting that in on the violin. So that's why on the violin, it starts on the D note right here, because that's what was missing in that chord. So it fills it out, it still fits. And then from there, I just went along, found a nice little melody to play. And then for example, this F sharp's gonna add tension, because on the piano for this A, we did the 1, skipped the 3, went to the 5, and right above that is gonna be a nice little tension note. So if I were to add in, let's see, 1, 3, 5 we have there. Let's do the 7th chord. And then flatten this to here. It's a nice little tension by dropping it down. And then we have a real simple bass that's just following some of the root notes. And we have one little slide note right here. Very subtle. And then after that, we have an effect. And it's this inside Omnisphere. I believe this is probably inside Keyscape. Both the libraries merge unless you go over here and select which one you want to use. And that gets this simple effect. There's nothing too crazy, but it just adds a nice texture to it. Let me go ahead and find it. Here we go. And let's just go ahead and play that. Let me just turn this up real quick so you can hear it. And then we tuck that back. I don't remember where I had it. And that Omnisphere got ran through a little bit of guitar rig. So that gets ran through here. So yeah, something spacious. And then I just kind of go through a preset and see which one sounds good. And then we have an EQ on it. So without that, it sounds like this. And then with. So like I mentioned, Guitar Rig is something that's going to be very good. I've been using it for a really long time because it's just a lot of effects processing in one unit. So this sample is actually free inside of a loop kit that I dropped about 2 months ago, I think, back in September. So that link will be in the description if you don't have it. And if you already do have it and you use this loop, this is how I made it. So I thought it'd be a cool video to kind of break down how to make like dark melodic trap type melodies like this. So hopefully you guys learned something from it. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like this video, leave a thumbs up. You guys can follow me on all social medias at Lifestyle Did It. Make sure to hit my site lifestyledidit.com for everything else. Other than that, subscribe to your boy, push notifications. Thanks.